Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the
Good morning.
weekly Saturday Knowledge Sharing webinar organized by Meta and Meta. And as you know, today's topic very interesting, an insight into the social stock exchange. Uh, Everyone wonders that we have uh, share market exchange, metal exchange, and commodity exchange, and all that. And what now, of course, I heard that cryptocurrency exchange is coming. So then also power, how come this on a social work there is an exchange? We have taken earlier the webinars on this topic, and internationally also the people has worked on this concept. And of course, Dolly will run through which exchange working, not working, and it's not much successful in various countries. Certain few countries are only working on that. Also, that exchange and the kind of exchange we have worked out hybrid is very unique, and actually people are watching that whether it will be successful. We can say that India was the only country first to make CSR compulsory. Being that CSR compulsory at that juncture only, at various forum I mentioned that this CSR will be a separate industry per se. CSR and social work is a separate industry. It has a huge, uh, you know, involvement of various intermediaries, and it can be developed as an industry. And that is the reason social stock exchange is there. Though it is gaining momentum nowadays, still it is in the progress, and every industry takes time to grow and evolve. So today again we are coming out with the same social stock exchange because now the companies are getting listed on stock exchange, and everyone that is wondering what is the benefit of getting listed on social stock exchange, because every human being will always ask what I'll get if I'll do. So that always, of course, will be the question. And we have with us Mr. Kaushal, the expert on the subject for social stock exchange. He will clarify the thing. Welcome, Mr. Kaushal.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving time. Mr. Kaushal, to introduce, is a senior manager social stock exchange uh, of NSE. As he's as an international development professional with over 12 years of experience. He is a proven track record in government advisory, development strategy, program design, new product development, policy analysis, monitoring and evaluation, and program management. Currently, he oversees social stock exchange at the National Stock Exchange. We regularly say as NSE. Welcome, Mr. Kaushal.
Thank you.
We have with us our own Mr. Bala and Sudhakar, who don't need introduction as we decided. Today's our presenter is Ms. Dolly Thakur. Dolly Thakur is our CSR head of Meta and Meta. She has a handle secretarial and compliance background, and she has an certified CSR professional with ICSA. With this, I'll request Mr. Kaushal to say a few words on the topic, then Sudhakar and Mr. Bala, and Dolly, then we can start the presentation. Over to you, Mr. Kaushal. Thank you.
Yeah, surely. Good morning, everyone. And it's really a kind of wonderful platform that Meta has created today with more than 150 people joining to understand social stock exchange. So it's a Saturday and it's a weekend, but still, we are very excited to share all the information about social stock exchange. And we will try our best to explain it, just not how to get registered and get listed, but also the rationale behind why social stock exchange is very important for Vikasit Bharat, say for example, and how it is really going to give a new breather and new life to the entire social development sector. So, hoping for the best value addition to our knowledge. And we look forward to your questions also, so that we can add more value to this. So, this is what it is, and maybe one by one we will be unfolding different things about social stock exchange. So look forward to your participation and questions. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We all are
So,
waiting for your inputs. Yes, Sudha.
Sudhakar, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. As Kaushal has rightly mentioned that this is a platform, in fact, in which both the stock exchanges have started, wherein both the social enterprises as well as the investors who are having the equal amount of interest in aligning each other's targets or objectives to meet that. This is a kind of, again, according to me, this is a niche area where the professionals like company secretaries, chartered accountants, and all other, other related professionals, maybe they are MBAs or graduates or law graduates, they can always take this as a niche area and can start developing the what's called as the concept clarity and how to advise their clients and how to also start working towards the promoting this particular objective, bringing our clients to the social stock exchange platform. And at the same point of time, several times it happens unless until a particular concept get the popularity, it don't attract the people. But my advice to all the participants is that take this niche area, the things what normally which are not available in the all the other areas. We have to develop an understanding. Let us be the first in the lot so that we can take the advantage of that. This is in case if you know the pricing of the things or if you know about the market, there is a technology called as skimming the market. So the people who can skim the market in the beginning, they will get the cream, and all other people will get the whatever the leftovers are there. So if we have to be the skimmers, and we need to understand this, and this is one of the objectives of ours while organizing this particular topic. At the same point of time, the participants may also note that this is the last program in the masterclass on issue of securities. And in fact, during this masterclass, we have talked about issue of equities, issue of debt securities, bonus issue, rights issue, ESOPs, ESPS, and even GDR and IDRs, and last but not the least, even the social stock exchange. With this, we will coming to conclusion of this issue of securities, and we are going to announce very shortly what is going to be the next in the, waiting for us. With this, I give a pause here and request Bala to take it forward, and then whenever anything is required, I will pitch in that. Thank you very much.
Good morning to all of you. In fact, I have a very great pleasure in hearing from Kaushal once again, because he was there earlier on the same subject. We had a seminar earlier also. And as Sudhakar puts it, there is a takeaway for everybody. Let it be the cost accountant, let it be a chartered accountant, let it be a company secretary. For everybody, there is a takeaway. I am very sure at the end of this session with the expert people who are here, we will be able to know how the social stock exchange is actually making a bridge between the donors and the legitimate organization doing well on the social work, and how can actually get their things listed. Because there can be two things. One is for the non-profit organization and also for the profit for organization. Both are things and fundraising mentality and various instruments which you are going to work, how it is, what is the zero coupon principle, all those things will be there actually. In fact, really speaking, we need to know a lot of things because as Dipti puts it initially, it has been there for the last over a decade in many countries. But somehow many of the countries, it was not that successful, barring the very few countries which is working very well. In fact, as per the recent news, etc., and all this thing, I've been told that Singapore has been doing excellently well in the social stock exchange. That is one thing. But off late, we have started. But luckily, I think it seems to be that we have learned many of the things and we started with it. In fact, I remember I was also watching when the inaugural function took place. When the inaugural function took place, one of the Bangalore-based company, I think if I not forgotten, I think some Unnati Foundation or something like that, they raised almost about 1.8 crores of the funding on the inaugural functions when this exchange was actually launched. That itself speaks how much homework has been put by NSE and BSE, how they put some system in place, etc. There are a lot of things for us, for everyone, there is a takeaway. I also look forward to listen, especially from Kaushal. Of course, our expert is there, Sudhakar. So I will ask Dolly to begin the presentation. And as usual, you can put up your questions and queries in the chat box. We'll be dealing with it then and there only. At the end of the session, we'll permit you to raise your hands. We can speak also. Over to Dolly, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So I will just start with the PPT. I hope this is visible.
Yeah, it is very much visible. Put it in the presentation mode.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
welcome to today's session on social stock exchange. Before starting with this session, I would like to introduce about the social stock exchange, which was first time introduced by Finance Minister in the budget speech in the year 2020, where there was a thought process to develop a platform, electronic fundraising platform, to help the social sector to create get the funding and create a better social impact. That was the thought process, and later on we will see how India has progressed so far from 2020 till now. So if we understand about the social and development sector, at present almost more than 4 lakhs NGOs are registered in India, probably more than that. The numbers are very big, and they were finding it difficult to get the funding. However, they were getting the funding through CSR, charity, philanthropy, and the governments, but still it was not that sufficient amount to create a better social impact. So the SSE, that's a social stock exchange, has gained the momentum during the pandemic, highlighting the need for social capital for enterprises and voluntary organizations that are working for social welfare. The social sector has been identified as an important partner towards addressing the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 agenda. So there was a gap between the demand side, that is a social sector, and the supply side, that is an investor. So our government has developed the infrastructure named as Social Stock Exchange Platform to bridge the gap between both the sides. Moving onwards, let's understand about the social stock exchange. So it's another segment which is operating on BSE and NSE terminals, just like how stock exchange shares market are normally operating. So social stock exchange is a segment of the existing stock exchange that can help social enterprises to raise the funds from the public through the social stock exchange mechanism. It allows the listing of a project of non-profit organization on stock exchanges. So it's kind of an alternative for the NPOs to raise the fund. SSE is a medium between the social enterprises and the fund providers. Also, there is a definition on social stock exchange, which means a separate segment of a recognized stock exchange having nationwide terminals permitted to register, especially not-for-profit organizations, and to list their securities in accordance with the provisions of the SEBI regulations. So here, to list their securities, it means their projects, because it's not a trading platform. It's for the project for which they are going to raise the funds. Now let's focus on the history of the social stock exchange.
Dolly, 1 minute, just go to the previous slide.
Yeah.
See, the NGOs, especially that they on at the same point of time, even the professionals also, they have to understand that listing on the social stock exchange is not the funding mechanism. They should not ensure that by merely listing, I can get the funds and I can chill out after that. No, it is not so. Just like whenever you are getting your equity shares listed, you need to have a project for that completely. And that you should be able to establish the credentials of the project as well as the credentials of the concerned organization also. Same is the case here. You have to have a viable project. You have to have a social project which you can sell out to the investors. Then only you will get the investment. By merely approaching the social stock exchange, you don't think that you will be getting the funding. Because several NGOs are under a wrong impression that this is a funding mechanism. It is not so. Funds will not come that easily. You have to have a proper project. And second thing is, once you get it listed on the stock exchanges, the monitoring will be there on very closely. So the transparency, the fairness, all the and the accountability as well as the responsibility will be going multifold. So one has to come to the social stock exchange with somewhat seriousness as well as the accountability and responsibility. Kaushal, if you want to add further anything to that.
No, we will talk about it in detail once Dolly completes the
Okay,
presentation.
great.
Thank you.
So now we'll see on the history of the social stock exchange. Like before India, what was the situation in the other countries? Okay, so many countries like South Africa, Portugal, Canada, Singapore, United Kingdom, and Jamaica, they started, social stock exchange from year 2006 till 2019, as we can see on the slide. However, 3 out of the 7 social stock exchange that was set up still survive and function, and they are based in Canada, Singapore, and Jamaica. So there were some reasons why it was failed in other countries. That we will hear from Mr. Kaushal. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically till now, overall, more than 14 countries have tried and tested this platform. And most of the countries have faltered with this idea. And there were certain reasons why. And we will talk about the entire story and the process how India developed this platform after, as Dolly mentioned, that in 2019 budget, when our honorable finance minister announced this idea, she seeded the idea saying that how growing capital market can also reach out to masses, right? So that is how the idea came in place. And just to make sure that India does not become another failed experiment, they took time, they came up with their working group, they came up with the report of working group that was a bit of entire study about the social stock exchanges, how it can work, and it can come up with different ideology to succeed in India. Then they came up with the technical group also, and then followed by the report. So the entire these two reports talk about all the ideas, all the experiments, what could be the probable instruments, like currently ZCZP we will talk about, development impact bond we will talk about. So the basic idea was when we talk about the failed experiments across the globe, then some major lacunas were there, and those were nothing but how it was not a part of the existing successful exchanges. Because when we talk about social sector projects, social sector organizations, so to make any business viable, we'll need finances. We need something around established ecosystem of business, and that is how we can see that it can succeed. So that was one thing. The first, the ingredient of success is it is very well, well taken care by government. Government is putting a lot of focus on this. It's a kind of one of the major agenda of government. Second is it is already routed through exchanges, right? As said that, NSE and BSE, they are looking after this, right? So it's already established exchanges. And third thing is layering all of these things, there is something called capacity building fund. Because when we talk about bringing some new concept, say, for example, for not-for-profit organizations, now they are registering and they are being asked a lot of financial documentation. When we talk about not-for-profit organizations, it's if there is something which is not for profit, obviously those financial documentation would be second priority. But mostly they will talk about social impact. They will talk about how their projects are bringing those outcomes. So that is where, they need a lot of hand holding, lot of capacity building. And that is what right now also we are doing, right? Just not awareness, but we are talking about the systems, processes, and all those things. So it needed time, it needed money. And that is how this capacity building fund is basically, it's a housed in NABARD. They are leading this entire fund. BSC, NSC, they are there. Then there is SIDBI. So these four organizations are, hosting this entire capacity building fund. And basic idea of this fund is to build that capacity and to bring that awareness level where most of the NPOs are aware of the process. just not about social stock exchange, but the process of registration, listing, and certainly when we talk about this capacity building, it also involves some cost. So how capacity building fund has also come up with an idea that first 20 projects and those NPOs will get one-time incentive of 5 lakhs rupees because they will also incur some cost in terms of raising fund. So we will talk about all these things in detail, but these are major three major, what is that called? Success indicators. Like one is like, government is very much serious about this concept in India. Second is it is very well placed through existing successful stock exchanges like NSE and BSE. And third is like capacity building fund is ensuring that NGOs get to know about it and they are well hand holded and they're getting all the capacity required to be on the exchange. So these are three things. And recently, like, Malaysia has also come up with, they have launched this on a pilot basis. And they had visited our exchanges and SEBI as well to understand the entire framework and how they can bring this concept in their country as well. So recently they have come up with this idea with their first 5, NGOs, and they are trying to showcase social impact, through this, and then they will come up with the next phase of implementation. Yeah.
Well said, Kaushal. Actually, in fact, I also have been reading many things on this social stock exchanges because mainly what it appears to be the failure has happened due to the low awareness and the participation and the lack of understanding. That is what it has happened. As you rightly said, now it is going through the established NSE and BSE and directly, and the regulatory things are there. That is one thing which is actually there. And second thing is, again, there was, our concept has now come from social audit to the social impact assessment. In fact, earlier, it was actually quantifying the social outcomes, which was actually very difficult to those things. So that was start making things. Now our government has definitely put in place having a social impact assessment. So these are all the things which is there. I'm very sure the number of people who are listed in the social section will have a better things in place. We'll hear more on this from you.
Yeah,
Okay, Dolly. Yeah, Dolly, go ahead.
Yeah. So now let's just see the timeline, how it started from 2019 till now. So in 1920, our Honorable Finance Minister, she introduced in her speech social stock exchange, and thereafter SEBI has formed two working groups and technical group for the discussion on the social stock exchange, how we are going to develop, what will be the instruments. And after the discussion in 2022, BSE, and in 2023, NSE received the in-principle approval. And accordingly, over the period of time, necessary amendments has been, done in the LODR and the SEBI ICTR Act. Now it's great to know that within 2 years of its launch, NSE's SSE platform has over 120 registrations and 12 projects and raising over 41 crores in just 2 years of time. If we talk about BSE also, BSE has also done a very good progress, and there are many projects also got listed, and they have also raised the funding. First listing of NPO done in December 2023, that was the Unnati Foundation, which Bala sir has already mentioned. It is from Bengaluru. So that got listed on BSE and NSE social stock exchanges. Kaushal, you're on mute.
Yeah, so till now there are 12 projects on NSE Social Stock Exchange. However, there are 2 projects are common between both BSE and NSE. And when it comes to like unique project listed on BSE, there is none till now. But certainly we are anticipating that they will also come up with some first unique project very soon. Yeah. So that's the thing. And recently we have closed 18 CR project by Prasanthi Balamandir Trust. And we will also talk about how it has brought and attracted a lot of retail participation.
and the number and what is the amount and all those things. We will get into those numbers and how it is progressing. We will also talk about how Unnati Foundation has also come up with their repeat project. And normally when we say in terms of like, marketing, we say that, no matter how many new people you bring for your product, right? Your first repeat customer will be your first customer, right? So that is
Right.
how like Unnati has come up with their second project, and that they actually filed the project and they listed the project in record time of within 5 working weeks. So that is how we see that when you come for the first project, you take some more time because it needs some bit of capacity building, but it's not a project specific. It is basically like, your understanding is specific. And once you understand the method and, all those, processes, then your next will become very easy because you are well aware about the entire thing. So we'll talk about all these things in detail. And yeah, after this presentation for sure. Yeah.
Sure.
See,
Do you
that
suggest, Mr.
Kaushal, one more question may come up is that some this NPOs, they may approach the social stock exchange for the purpose of registration,
Mhm.
and some may be for the purpose of registration as well as for issuing the securities also.
Mhm.
So you may also explain the difference between these two. In fact, if you say here, the participant may
Yeah.
like to know that 120 registrations and 12 projects means what exactly? That you
So,
may also explain
yeah,
here.
yeah, surely. This is a great question because there is a difference. Like, one NPO gets registered, whereas their project gets listed. So one NPO can come up with multiple projects to raise funds for. And once they successfully raise fund, that is how they get listed. Right. And to make it successful, you have to your project has to be subscribed, at least to 75%. Right. So when we talk about that, why there is a difference, like, 120 registration, but 12 projects only. So there are different priorities. There are so many NPOs, they want to be registered because, being on exchange platform itself gives a lot of credibility and trust. And that is how like exchanges are nothing but a kind of second name of trust. How? Because I am a kind of small investor based out of Bihar, but same time I'm investing in one company which is based out of some other town like in Assam, I mean in Guwahati, right? So why one small investor is buying some share of some, it's all because of that trust, right, that we have on exchanges. That if some organization or some company is listed on exchanges, it means that I can invest. It means that their numbers, what they're claiming and in public domain are correct, right? So it's a kind of trust that it builds, and how it is converting those registered NPOs to attracting more funding. So social stock exchange is one parallel platform. It's a kind of alternate platform. It does not like, restrict you from raising fund through CSR or from other platforms. So the moment you tell your potential funder that we are registered on social stock exchange, it builds a lot of credibility. They see that, exchanges must have gone through a lot of due diligence, so it makes their work easy to create, I mean, to do that due diligence process. And I tell you that some of the, byproducts or indirect benefits that NPOs are getting is like many of CSR foundations and CSR, organizations are coming to us and saying that, see, we work in this area, we work in this locality, and we are looking for some good and right kind of NPO who can, implement our project. So can you suggest some NPOs working in this area? And we say that, okay, you can go through our, registered NPOs list and you see their work. And if you find it, that they are catering to your like, service area, we won't mind giving you their contact details. So certainly that funding amount is not coming on social stock exchange, but at the same time, those NPOs are also getting a lot of indirect benefits directly while raising their funds. So that's what. And second, like, CSR is not right now as a part of like, social stock exchange. So, but still like, CSR money is, somehow like indirectly, you know, coming to them, and it is helping them raising more funds, not directly through the social stock exchange, but indirectly they are receiving some funds, and that's a kind of good news. I mean, we were not aware that this will, do some sort of like this kind of benefits also, but it's happening. So that's how it is. And second main reason is like, there are very few organizations, they have that funder base that we will talk about, institutional donors, non-institutional, where retail donors also come in place, like you and I can also donate. So every NPO has different, donor base. If they have CSR or government funding, certainly they will wait and watch until, like, some other fund sources like CSR comes in place. But NPOs who have a huge donor base, retail donor base, like the last one, like Swadesh Foundation, where they did not go for institutional funders, but they relied on non-institutionals and retail donors. They were able to raise 10 crores. So that's how, like, it depends on who are their donors, whether they fit into their donor base or not, or like, SSC's focus donor base or not. And accordingly, they make that, decision. But good news is, like, there are so many other NPOs who are quite, like, big. They are also now focusing on, and they are thinking of coming on the platform form, and they are actually planning for some big project fundraising as well. Yeah.
Kaushal, I think this hybrid, we are providing both institutional donor and the retail donor. I
Yeah.
think it's a unique, and any other country has this kind of hybrid exchange, social stock exchange?
I mean, Malaysia is trying that. Jamaica is a bit like connected, but most of the places, like, they have used it as a kind of like, crowdfunding. Like Bala sir said that, in Singapore, it's mainly like, run by Rockefeller Foundation. Right. So that's how it is, like, different nations have implemented it differently. And this is how it is. And we will certainly talk about, like, there is one more reason why social stock exchange is important is, so that this SSC is also bringing a lot of retail donation. And this is how we can call it. It is trying to democratize giving and philanthropy. That you and I are also a part of this, you know, systematized giving platform. Otherwise, like, public financing or like, government, funding or CSR, they are not focusing this parallel line. And other reason was, like, when we talk about UN, reports, and how we are going to meet this SDGs by 2030, India at least needs more than $2.8 trillion. Right. And when we combine all the fundings available in India, that was not able to meet. So that is also one of the reasons how we can also contribute to that, meeting that SDG goals by 2030. Right. So that was another reason as well. So that it's a kind of different funnel of funding for all those social development projects.
Yeah, you rightly explained that how individual every citizen can contribute to our this target of 2030 in a systematic way, because it requires certain funnel to bring it and system and ensure each retail investor that every penny is properly. There is a monitoring, there is a regulator who is overseeing this. That confidence, this exchange, you rightly mentioned, we are the trust.
Yeah, and as Dolly also shared that how, like, I mean, it's been only 2 years. But when we talk about behavior change, it takes some more time, right? At least 3 to 5 years. Where when I spend like 10, 15, 20,000 rupees on my birthday celebration, right? I may think of, like, donating 5,000 to the project I care about. And certainly it will have that ripple effect that once we see that number of those, and how even the system is allowing me to donate, like how convenient it is for me to donate through social stock exchange. So we will talk about all those initiatives, what we are trying to bring in place, where just by one click we are able to donate to the right cause and to the open projects. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Thanks.
Somebody has put up a question actually. How is the price discovery done on the social stock exchange? what is the difference between the normal trading platform and the social stock exchange? What is the inspiration for a normal trader to come into the trade in the social stock exchange?
Now, this is certainly a great question. And the most important reason of this, another reason is this price discovery also, right? Price discovery as in like, how do you know that to impact 1,000 lives, this should be the project value, right? So that is what, like, once one NPO submits their fundraising document, there is a team that goes through all those costing parameters, all those detailings. They question each and everything, including their risk and mitigation plans and all those things. We will talk about it. But at the same time, once there will be like, 50, 100,000 projects on this platform, right? So while writing the project, even the donors will be able to do that comparison and benchmarking that one NPO is, reaching out to 1,000 people in this price, and another NPO is reaching like, 2,000 people in the same price. So who is more like, whose unit economics is better? Right. So that will also create that competition, that will also create that outcome-based philanthropy, where, once you prove that, you have done something this much in this price, and that is how, like, there is a benchmark which is becoming higher, that this competition is also helping you a lot. And that is where it will bring a lot of transparency. This will bring a kind of value for money. I mean, if I'm donating 1,000 rupees to one project and same 1,000 rupees to other project, catering to the same thematic area or catering to the same beneficiary, base, I will see that where my donation is getting utilized more and bringing more outcome and impact. So this is a kind of like, again, just like behavior change, once more project will come in place of the same thematic area, same sector line. I mean, it will bring more transparency, and that will bring more, better price discovery. So that's another idea of having this in place.
Somebody has put up a question: can a practicing chartered accountant registered SSE and carry on the NGO audit?
Shall we take now?
One minute. Dolly is going to discuss this matter because there is a social
let the
impact is coming.
presentation over.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then we will talk about the questions.
And he will also, because he has to say many things. So what I feel, let's Dolly finish the presentation. I want to give many inputs on the presentation, and then we can take up the questions.
Yeah.
I only wanted to tell
okay with everyone?
I only wanted to say this question itself gets answered when Dolly moves over the presentation.
Yeah.
She's already addressing this. Yeah.
Please feel free to keep writing all of your questions. So while I'll be talking about this, I will try to address most of the questions before we talk about the question. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Dolly, go ahead.
Yeah. So thank you for all the inputs. I was enjoying this discussion. So yeah. Okay. So now coming back to the this topic. Now let's focus on this. Who are the stakeholders? So first of all, we know that this is for NPO. So obviously NPO, non-profit organizations, is one of the important stakeholders. For-profit enterprises, depositors, social impact assessors, regulators, donors, information repositories, market infrastructure institutions, registrar and transfer agent. These all are important stakeholders to operate the social stock exchange efficiently. Moving onwards, we'll go one by one, while we are discussing on it. So social enterprises, it's a very important term to understand who are the eligible, enterprises to get registered and listed on social stock exchange platform. Social enterprise is a type of organization which align non-profit social mission with the financial sustainability through commercial viability. According to SEBI ICDR regulations, a social enterprise means either non-profit or not-for-profit organizations or a for-profit social enterprise that meets the eligibility criteria which is specified in the SEBI ICDR regulations. There are some features for a social enterprises. The main aim of the social enterprise is a social or environmental cause. It has a revenue generating model where profits are earned through a sale of product or services. Revenue generated is invested back for a social cause. These enterprises operate like a companies and have enterprise orientation. To be identified as a social enterprises, NPO and FPEs shall establish a primacy of social intent. So let's first understand about the eligibility criteria to get registered as per regulation 292F of the ICTR regulations. Social impact is the primary purpose. Broad areas have been identified in line with CSR or SDG goals that we will see in the next slide. Second eligibility criteria is a quantum of social work. The enterprise must have at least 67% of the revenue or expenses or beneficiaries coming from providing eligible activities to the members of the target population. Now, what is target segment? Social enterprises shall target an undeserved or less privileged population segment or regions recording lower performance in the development priorities of central or state governments. There are 4 categories who are ineligible to get identified as a social enterprises. First is corporate foundations, political or religious organizations or activities, professional or trade associations, and the last is infrastructure and housing companies. But affordable housing companies, they are eligible to get listed on the social stock exchange. Moving onwards, this is the list of the eligible activities for defining or demonstrating the primacy of social impact. So these are almost 17 activities, which is the align of the SDG goals and the CSR Schedule 7 of the Companies Act 2013. Moving onwards, there are eligibility criteria for registration for the NPO. Once you have identified the primacy of social intent requirement, you have met that requirement. Further, you have to focus on eligibility criteria. First is entities must be registered as a trust or society or Section 8 company under the respective act. Certificate should be valid for for further period of 12 months while you are seeking the registration on SSE platform. Second is governing document of the NPO seeking registration. So you must be having memorandum of association or article of association, trust deed, bylaws, constitution, as the case may be. Registration certificate under section 12A, 12AA, 12AB, 1023 under the Income Tax Act 1961. The registration certificate should be again valid for at least next 12 months. And the NPO, it's a very important thing. The NPO should not be having any notice or ongoing scrutiny from Income Tax Department. Further, NPO should be having valid ATG registration, having a track record of 3 years, valid IT PAN, and they should be eligible to identified as a social enterprise as per ICTR regulations. So these are the requirement to get registered successfully on the social stock exchange platform. Further, there is a requirement for a minimum fund flows where annual spending in the past financial year via receipt or payment from audited or fund flow statement must be at least 50 lakhs rupees. And also funding in the past financial year, again from the audited statement, must be 10 lakh rupees. So this all are the conditions. If NPO is fulfilling all these conditions, NPO will be able to get registered on the SSE platform. Yeah, any inputs, or I can go ahead with the PPT? Okay.
Kaushal will add as and when he wants, or Sudhakar.
Yeah. I will talk about it later once Dolly finishes the presentation.
Okay. So moving onwards, let's focus on the process flow, how this SSE platform is going to work. Investor can use which instrument to contribute to the funding. So there is once you have established, there is a primacy of social intent by the NPO and by the FPE. So NPO, as per NPO registration guidelines, to get the security listing, there are 3 instruments: zero coupon, zero principal, social impact funds, equity or debt. Currently, ZCZP is in operation. And then for where no registration is required for FP can get listed via equity or debt, social impact funds, or development impact bonds. FP may list their securities on the appropriate existing stock exchange. Debt securities may be listed on the main board. Equity securities may be listed on the main board or SME platform or IGP platform.
Yeah, so I would like to add here, like, right now, currently, as Dolly said, that ZCZP is one existing, instrument where NPOs basically issue zero coupon, zero principal because there is no return. It's a pure donation, and the return is social return only. Second is like when it comes to for-profit enterprises, those organizations can come via main board or SMEs as per their eligibility criteria. And only addition would be they will be getting one social tag where all those people who care about social development causes, they can invest in that organization. So this is kind of the basic difference. When it comes to social impact bond, we will talk about it in detail because that is very much like, going to be the next instrument where one of the state governments, Madhya Pradesh, has come up with this, in their current budget as well, that they're going to, come via outcome-based funding, and they will talk about they are going to raise, social impact funds through social stock exchange in coming time. Yeah.
Can the Section 8 company also can list for this?
Yeah, I will talk about that in detail, that how social impact funds work. Yeah.
Not,
Yeah. So now, as we understood that ZCZP currently is the only instrument to, raise the funding. So let's understand more in depth about the ZCZP. Zero coupon, zero principal instrument shall be issued only for NPO registered on a social stock exchange, and it will have a specific tenure. Also, it will be issued without any coupon, and no principal amount shall be payable on its maturity because it is for a social cause, so there won't be any return. The not-for-profit organization may issue zero coupon, zero principal instrument only for a specific project or activity, and that should be completed within a duration specified in the fundraising document. So for each project, there will be a separate ZCZP, right? Yeah. Okay.
So primarily it is a charge to the profit and loss account right from day one. It is not going to be an investment in the balance sheet. So it is like a donation. It is a revenue expenditure right from day one and to be charged to the profit and loss account.
So Kaushal, I want to ask here, if any investors, any retail investors or individual like us is donating, whether we will be getting the benefit under ATG.
Yeah, ATG is
Yeah.
live. Yeah, it is available. ATG is available now. Yeah, and last two projects, by one by Swadesh Foundation and second is by Unnati Foundation, and third is Prasanti Bala Mandir. They were able to give ATG benefits to their donors. Yeah, so that was there.
Only thing is, to get that necessary thing done from the income tax end for getting the ATG. That is the thing.
And second is, from 1st April onwards, the minimum application size is going to be 1,000 rupees only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. That's an important amendment, just came on 19th March. Yeah. So NPO shall need to show the expertise in the targeted areas through social performance of the past projects they have done, which in turn will allow investors to gain better insight about their expertise. As per ICDR regulation, NPO shall issue ZCZP instruments to the public through public issue or social impact funds registered under SEBI AIF regulations through a private issue. As per 292N ICDR regulations, minimum issue size will be rupees 50 lakhs. And as we just now spoke about the minimum application size, earlier it was rupees 10,000. On 19th March, SEBI came out with a very important amendment. Now it is rupees 1,000 to donate the funding. Minimum subscription is 75% of the funds proposed to be raised through issuance of ZCZP instruments. Now let's understand about, because NPO is going to use the public platform for the social, social projects. They are going to raise the funds. So there must be some disclosure requirements to bring the trust factor on the investors who are, doing the investment with no returns. So I have divided here in 3 categories for NPO, which is registered, NPO who are listed, and FPs who are listed. So for NPOs registered, if we talk about the registration, they have to give a vision statement, strategy, governance, management, their operations, target segment, all the detailing part while they are registering. For NPO who are listed, it's not applicable. And for FPs, as per the LODR regulations, they have to follow with that norms. If we talk about the annual compliances, NPO registered, they have to give annual compliances with their governance, organizational guidelines within 60 days of, organizational and financial disclosure as per guidelines within 60 days of financial year end. For FP, they have to follow as per the mention in the LODR regulations. Quarterly disclosures are not applicable to NPO which is registered. For an NPO which is listed, every quarter they have to submit statement in respect of utilization of funds raised within 45 days of the quarter end. Then there are several event-based disclosures, NPO which are registered. Whenever there is any material impact on the functioning of the organization, NPO who are registered, they have to inform the authority within 7 days of the event. For an NPO which are listed and FP which are listed, they have to report to the authority for any material impact within 7 days of the occurrence of such event. And if we talk about the annual impact report, which is applicable to all of them, whether you are registered, whether you are listed, whether you are NPO or FP, audited annual impact report covering strategic intent and planning, approach and impact scorecard within 90 days of the financial year end, the NPO has to, and FP has to submit to the authority. So this is the last part. Now, because the social stock exchange NPOs are listed, so there must be audit to make it more, structured disclosures. Social audit is a systematic evaluation of an organization's social, ethical, cultural, and environmental performance. The social impact assessment, that's an audit framework developed by ICAI, provides a social impact assessor guidance for conducting an assessment. So earlier it was named as social audit, and the people who are doing audit, it was named as a social auditor. Now the term has changed. Now it is a social impact assessment, and who are the eligible? They are called as a social impact assessor. Social auditor in India are now known as social impact assessor. As per SCDR regulations, social impact assessors means an individual registered with self-regulatory organization under the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So ICMAI Social Auditors Organization under the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, and ICSI Institute of Social Auditors under the Institute of Company Secretaries of India qualifies a certification program conducted by NISM and holds a valid certificate. So these are the criteria to become the social impact assessors. All social impact assessors will have to be registered with an SRO under the Institute of Social Auditors of India or such other agency as may be specified by CP. The SRO is named as Institute of Social Auditors of India, a not-for-profit making organization, which is a Section 8 company under the aegis of ICAI. So who can be a social impact assessors? As just now we have seen that the chartered accountant or a company secretary or cost and management accountant or postgraduates with universities recognized by the University Grants Commission with a minimum 3 years of experience in development sector, or graduates from universities recognized by the UGC with a minimum 6 years of experience in the development sector, or any other persons with a suitable accreditations with a minimum 6 years of experience in the development sector can become a social impact assessor. Yeah, so we are at the end of the session, so we can, take up FAQs or the questions.
Yeah. Let us start with the questions, whatever is there on the chat box. Let me start from the very beginning. In
Yeah.
fact, thankful to
But
Mr.
we will
Kaushal.
finish this also, FAQ, because these answers are already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah, and then
let,
Mr. Kaushal either can put his own inputs and then answer question, or question first and his input, whatever he select. The more.
Yeah.
Surely, so
Yeah.
these questions are already available on our website.
Ah.
Even if you go through the SSE framework and different reports available on SEBI and NSE or BSE, I mean, these questions are very most frequent. That is why these are FAQs. And one very important, the question number 2 written here, like say, for example, as it was told that what certain NPOs are not eligible. So certain organizations are not eligible. And we were talking about political, religious, and all those things. But among NPOs also, there are certain NPOs not eligible. And one very important parameter is like if one funder is, donating or funding more than 50% of the entire funding of the last year, in that case, the NPO will not be eligible for registration. So this is very important point, because after meeting all the criteria of 3 years to 67% into social intent, into among all those activities targeted, and also 50 lakhs and 10 lakhs parameter, if one funder is giving you money and that is contributing more than 50% of the entire funding amount, in that case, the NPO will not be eligible. Other things I believe was already discussed before.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can go to the next slide if there is anything new.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again here also, yeah. So it's already discussed.
Yeah.
Investors we talked about, and certainly we will talk about all those things in a kind of a story form, so that participants and everybody will have, I mean, they will remember how these things are, right? What is next?
Yeah, we are done.
Yeah, we are done, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dolly.
Yeah.
Because you set a wonderful context where I do not have to cover so many things, and mostly we will talk about how we are trying to enable the platform rather than talking about this eligibility and how you get listed. Certainly we will touch upon all those things, but most important thing is like why social stock exchange and how it is actually going to help most of the NPOs to meet their most important need, which is to get funding for their projects. Because without funds, even if it is not for profit organization, we cannot imagine of implementing any projects, right? Or say, for example, giving salary to the employees or who are working for the project. So that's how the ecosystem works. So should I start? I mean, I'm just asking that we have to.
Yeah, please, you can start.
yeah, please.
Yeah, so apart from what we talk about the funding deficit to meet those SDGs, right? By 2030, there is another parameter why SSC is very important, because when we talk about the number of NPOs in India, unfortunately or fortunately, we have more than 33 lakhs, right? Whereas around like 3.75 lakhs are there on the Durban platform, right? And when we talk about 33 lakhs, I mean, unfortunately, it's more than double than the public schools in India. But still, we are struggling to see that development, right? And that is where the biggest thing, and I will tell you one more number. Like many places, if you divide the population of the place divided by how many NGOs are working there, probably one NGO will get hardly 3 to 4 people to touch their lives to, right? But still, you will see a lot of vulnerability and a lot of poverty there. So where is the problem? Problem is like maybe the quality of implementation, maybe there is something which is not bringing that transparency. And again, I will come to the first question, which was price discovery, right? What should be the price of that development, right? To change one life, how much money do you need? So there are a lot of questions, thousands of questions, and the answer to that is that transparency. Once I'm transparent, I'm sharing all the information with people, that builds that credibility and that trust among people that we are sharing those information. And that is how, social stock exchange through this this exchange platform is very important, where from registration to listing to everything, the most important document is your financial document. You have to come up with all those documents. If we see, there are certain questions like why there are only 120 NPOs till now in 2 years. So I would like to tell that there are so many hundreds of NPOs still are in pipeline. There's so many NPOs, they were ineligible. There were so many, NGOs, when we asked questions, when we shared our queries, they were not able to provide the right answers or right documents. So that is where it takes some time. And there were some NPOs, they stopped answering to us. So that was a kind of but certainly it does not discount the fact that there are so many great NPOs doing great job. But where there are, organizations in lakhs, even if some hundreds and thousands are doing great job, it's very difficult to do that. Understand that who all those are. And that is where social stock exchange is helping all those donors. As a donor, if I have to donate in some project or some cause, I know where to donate because there is exchange and they are doing all those due diligence. And one very important, positive effect of this is if you ask all those 120 NPOs that what is your biggest learning, and they say that it's a kind of just not learning, but a kind of behavior change where you ask us any financial documents we have that right now. So it helps us streamlining our entire documentation process. It actually helped us understand, and it actually made us think that how our documentation should look like. So this is one of a very important point where that professionalism is coming among those NPOs who have been registered or listed on the platform. So this is one very important thing. Second is when we talk about registration and listing, certainly it takes some time because when you submit your documents, there is a compliance team. They go through each and every document, just not getting into your document, but doing some sort of other background checks also, that what all PAN numbers you have provided, what all different individual identification numbers you have provided. So they go through all those things, and that is why they take 5 to 7 days of working days to respond to you. It takes some days for you also to arrange all those documentation. So it takes almost on an average 4 to 6 weeks of time in terms of registration. And other thing is uh, when you apply for registration, there is a portal called NEEPS, and I will share the link also here. So you create your login ID, just you create you sign up on Gmail, and then you get ID and password, and then you start putting all those documents as per the checklist. And those all checklists are there on our website. Those are very simple checklists, but in some formats, you may need some time to arrange certain information and certain documents, some signatures, some sort of assessments done by your social impact assessors. So that also takes some time, at least 1 to 2 weeks of time. Once you upload that, it's not we say that okay, yes, you are registered, or no, we are rejecting your application. Understanding that this is happening for the first time, and we have merely completed 2 years of time. It's a kind of constructive process. You receive a kind of query letter from us, certain questions, some need for documents, and that is how you again respond to that in the portal only. And if everything is okay, then you have to work on the agreement that agreement is there on our website. You create two agreements on, I mean, stamp papers. You share the signed copy with us. I mean, we sign it. One we keep with us, one we send to you. And after that, you are eligible to put your fundraising document on our platform. Right. And when it comes to fundraising, it happens just the way like, other platforms work like SME or main board, where you have to come with a kind of proper draft fundraising document. I have already shared the link in our chat box among everybody where you can check all those like, draft fund documents like, of 27, 28 organizations and final fundraising document of 12 organizations, right? All the 12 listed, projects. So you can go through that. You can see all the, table of content to what they have put as a kind of content. So you have a lot of references. You can see how it is done. But most important thing is like once you complete that, what you do is we share that with us and they're like, it goes on for public comments for 21 days because you are requesting for that donation or funding from all the, individual people. So everybody has their own right and duty as well to comment on that. Then it takes few days to incorporate all those comments. Our team also go through that, shares all the queries. And once everything is okay, like as we talked about, like, we ask questions on project costing to project design to different documents, different declarations, impact assessment report as well, different risk and mitigation, and on all the parameters. And once everything is okay, then that project gets that in principle approval and it is ready to open the issue. Open the issue means like, once you open the issue from that day, you start like, receiving funds. And for that thing as well, like, there are a lot of other stakeholders involved. It's Yeah, so that's when like, there are like, RTAs involved. There are, as we talked about who all are the stakeholders, like, different depositories like NSDL and CDSL are involved. Just in case if you are taking help of advisors, because, at times NPOs find themselves a bit lost, right? Lost as in like, we understand that most of the NPOs have some or other kind of issue. It may be capacity issue because it's happening for the first time. It's coming through capital market. So that's so many things very new. Second is bandwidth issue. Even if like, NPOs are very much capable of doing it all standalone, most of the people are always running here and there, either for their project implementation or sitting with their auditor and sharing some documents. So when it comes to having somebody dedicated resource taking care of social stock exchange, because it's happening for the first time in the history of that NPO also. So there is a lot of bandwidth issue. So just in case, like, if one NPO decides to appoint some advisor, which is like, we do not suggest that much, but understanding their need, there are certain advisors, and those details also you will find on the first page of those draft fundraising document also. That till now 12 projects, there are 4, 5, 6 already like, working advisors who have helped different projects. You can find their details on the first page only. You can get in touch with them. You can try to ask your questions. You can see whether you'll be able to do it by yourself or like, you need their help. Certainly they will charge some money, right? That will be part of like, that can be some bit of part, some bit of cost. You can make it a part of the project only, right? The way like, when you go for funding through CSR or from different government agencies, organizations, there also you put some management cost, you put some sort of like, fundraising cost. Similarly, you can do that as well. And as I said, that capacity building fund has also come up with one announcement saying that first 20 projects, I mean, those NPOs will get a kind of like, one-time incentive of 5 lakh rupees. So that will help like, minimize some of their fundraising cost. But again, like this is not a kind of for one time, what is that called? Like one project fundraising cost. You can call it a kind of learning cost also, capacity building cost as well. Because that is how, like when we talk about one NPOs, two projects, like Unnati Foundation has come up with their second project. So first project, they went through all the pain because uh, otherwise also they were the first project. They did not have 12 and 28 projects to refer to, that how they have built their project documents. So they started from scratch. They did that. They took a lot of time, almost like 4 to 5 months, while coming with the document, going through all the queries, responding to queries, and getting that in principle approval, raising fund. uh Same time, like talking to their donors, funders, also arranging their funders. But all those learnings converted to a kind of ease for their next fundraising, where they filed their document and within 5 working weeks, they were able to list their project. And the other first was like, they came with 50 lakhs, like, minimum amount. And as we talked about, like, minimum 75% subscription is required. They closed their document with 39.8 lakhs, which is approximately 80%. So, and that is how they succeeded with that. But the best part was like, just to get like, 39 30, 40 lakhs, they were able to mobilize 38 different donors, right? So that was a kind of like, distribution of donor was very well done. And that is how they quickly raised those 39, 40 lakhs within 3 to 4 days of issue opening period. When it comes to like, let's come back to the process. So once one project gets that in principle approval, the validity of that is 6 months, 180 days. Considering that whenever one NPO goes for fundraising through different parallel platform also, it takes like, 3 to 4 to 6 months of all those, funding processes. So that is how 6 months is ample time to do certain road shows, your social media campaign to bring awareness of your project and mobilize those donors also who can raise fund. Again, one question can be like, uh, how many days, you can open your issue, right? So it starts from minimum 3 days up to 10 days, you can open your issue. And based on request, it can be further extended to 10 more days. So minimum 3 to 20 days. But again, like, do you think that, if you organically try to arrange all those 75% subscription, is it possible? And how does all those 12 issues which have opened their project, like, they have been successful? So just like SME and main board, there are anchor investors, right? So that is how they also arrange their funder, I mean, investors. Similarly, here also, once one NPO is sure that their project has got 75 to 80% of the soft commitment from different donors they have targeted to, that is when they're comfortably like, opening their issue. And that is how 100% issues have been able to arrange 75% of their funding. Right. So that is when they like to open their issue. They reach out to their donors saying that now you can subscribe to the ZCZP instrument. And that's how they feel that 80% and 20% they can rely on the what is that called, retail funding, right? And how it is going to help them, like, so when first time Unnati came, there was all like, done with the checks and manual way of fundraising. And from first to now 10th and 12th, there's so many things have changed. So one biggest change is like now EIPO has been launched, and through ASBA and through UPI mechanism. So now all the ASBA banks, major banks, and 3-in-1 brokers, right, broking members, they are allowing different donors to come through that and using that platform and donating. They don't need to do it through their checks, but they can do it just by one click. Similarly, for UPI also, recently in Feb, we launched that. And Unnati was the first one to do its beta testing. And good news is, like, out of 8 funders, right, donors who came through UPI, 7 out of 8 came organically. So more awareness we create around this donation, more like, this organic way of attracting funding for your project will go up, right? And it will build that true sense of democratizing philanthropy, where we all are being involved without even being reached by the NPO. But actually we are seeing it through, we are navigating, where we want to put our funding to or donation to. When it comes to enabling the platform of the entire, like, this democratizing giving, why, how that, NSE or exchange is, you know, enabling that, right? And what is the potential that we are trying to create? So I will tell you that on NSE, there are more than 11 crore unique investors, right? And even if a kind of, like, fraction of people, donate to that project, it has that potential to fund maximum of the most of the projects, right? Of, multiple crores project. So that is one. And the best part is, like, these more than 11 crore investors, they belong to approximately 99.8% pin codes. So it actually covers the entire India. So when awareness is there, like certainly, like, uh, one NPO can get their project funded from across India, where they're not able to even imagine of reaching out to. So that is the kind of that potential that this social stock exchange coming via exchanges bring to different NPOs. The only thing that they have to do is, they have to adhere to their documentation. They have to keep doing great work. And if they are doing it, why not to bring all those visibility across India? And when we talk about visibility, that is another byproduct. Like, I mean, and it is giving a lot of, like, first movers advantage also, where if you see first 10, 12 NPOs who have gone through that fundraising process, they know that how much visibility it has given to them, and a kind of branding it has given to their NPO. I can tell you few names of NPOs, like one is Unnati, we have mentioned many times, but some great NPOs like, Educate Girls, we most of us are aware about. They have listed their project. Then Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement, who work for tribal development, they have raised fund through Social Stock Exchange. And at the same time, like, I mean, all these, NPOs, they have got that sort of, like, visibility through this, right? So that is another byproduct, like, along with Unnati, there is one NPO, very, very special name I would mention is Missing Link Trust, if we are aware about. They work in a very small area in West Bengal, and they try to, like, work for all the, girl kids, like, who are, forced to be a part of, like, abducted for human trafficking, right? They are working towards that thing. So this platform also helps us bring all those niche areas of development, right? So when we talk about the development area, mostly we talk about education, health, right, skill development, but we don't talk about, like, how autistic people are, getting involved, and they are being, their lives are changing through different organizations. So this platform also helps you coming through your different causes that you support and bringing that awareness India wide. Because most of the people who are not a part of development sector like you and I, they cannot imagine about those niche areas of development where we really require to add a lot of value to. So those are not also left behind. So that's how, like, it will cater to all the 17 development goals that we talk about. right? Just not few of the prominent ones where we keep on hearing on social media or different media platforms. So this just does not give a kind of inclusion to different people, such disadvantaged and marginalized people, but also such causes. So once the fundraising is done, then again, when we talk about RTAs, they help you doing all sorts of escrow account opening help, and that how fund flows to that. Once you close the successfully fundraising activity, then that goes to your project account, and then again, as mentioned, that we have to adhere to certain declarations, certain what is that called disclosures, quarterly disclosure, annual disclosure, and all those things. They are like you have to take care of that, and all those documents are available on our website. And good thing is even if going to contribute 1,000 rupees to one project, all those information is accessible to me. I can go there, I can do that. Some of the NPOs are just not disclosing to us, but they're also writing to their different their donors, that see, this is what we are doing, this is how what our disclosures are, this is where your money is getting utilized, right? So that transparency is building a lot of credibility. And that is how that 33 lakhs NGOs or 3.75 lakhs NPOs on Darpan platform has that opportunity to come on this platform and showcase their great work. Because the way it is focused, and the way this is going to be way forward uh, in in the development sector. I mean, this is going to give a lot of opportunity and bringing a lot of potential. Certainly, we talked about ATG, but there are chances that some bit of CSR might also come through this platform. Say, for example, even if 5% comes through this platform, it will open a potential of thousands of crores, right? And we see in reports that there are unutilized funds under CSR budget as well by many, organizations, right? So even if you tap 5% of some CSR funding organization, and if you do great work, I mean, they won't mind giving you a part of 95% as well. It's not about how you are untapping or unlocking funds for your projects through social stock exchange, but also this is giving you that opportunity to unlock remaining funds of those CSR organizations. And that's all can be done through this transparency and building that credibility. So these are the key themes, what SSE is bringing as a kind of value addition. And as an exchange, we understand one more thing, uh, through our different awareness activities, that all NPOs are not at the same par when it comes to how much funds they are raising, from where they belong to, where they are working in a kind of metros or tier 2, tier 3, or at a very grassroots level, right? Their modus operandi, their beneficiaries, their entire universe is different. So different, it's a kind of diverse set of NPOs. So you cannot say that if these 3, 4 NPOs understand the entire process, they know how development sector works, how funding documents are prepared. You cannot say that, everybody are at the same level. So we understood this capacity and bandwidth gap, what I talked about. So when it comes to identifying donors and pitching your project to different donors, again, here also a lot of capacity building is required. So if you ask any NPO that, let's talk about your project, and can you please make it just a kind of 2 minute or 5 minute talk? They have a lot to speak about, because they don't talk about brain, they talk from their heart, to be honest, because they have been a part of that vulnerability, they have been a part of the life-changing story of that beneficiary, right? So they talk a lot, but somehow that does not work when it comes to making your donor say, yes, I'm going to fund to your project. So that is where we talk to all the stakeholders involved in the process. And we built one template that, can you please, make a kind of 3, 4, 5 slides and 5 indicator, deck about your project. And that is giving a lot of thoughts to them that how to design a project. And you can call it a kind of mind map, you can call it a kind of wireframe, whatever term you give to it. But that actually creates a kind of framework where you just not talk about your project objective, why this project, but also your key numbers in terms of KPIs, whether it's a kind of qualitative or quantitative. And just creating that thing, how it can be implemented. So what we do is who new NPO gets registered and they are very serious about raising fund. We talk to them, we have a kind of long call with them. We just not talk about the template, but most important thing is your project design. And that is going to attract your donor. That is most important. Why I will say yes to your project, that I mean project, or I'm going to even put my 1,000 rupees to the project because of the design, because of kind of the appeal that the project is making. And that is where we talk about project design, we talk about how you should pitch to different donors. And they work on that, and that template actually helps them getting a lot of clarity to how they are going to develop that project. And there is another template also when it comes to designing. There is a chapter called project object that you will see in most of the project documents. So now from first to the 12th project document, you will see a lot of change journey it has taken. And now you will find all those project designs a, a lot with a lot of betterment, basically. So that will help you tapping to your donors. And certainly when it comes to donors, I mean, NPO will be the sole responsible because this gives you platform. NSE, I mean, Social Stock Exchange is a platform. But at the same time, we understand that, I mean, you have to connect all the dots. It's not like just creating a platform and not talking to, say, for example, building awareness of NPOs, but not building awareness of RTA, say, for example, or bankers, or all those trading members like Grow and Zerodha. I mean, everybody has to have similar knowledge, or kind of they have to be on the same platform or same page to understand the criticality of social stock exchange and make it successful, for India together. So that's where we are in touch with all the stakeholders. Wherever you face any trouble, it's not it's your problem, it's our problem. And we intervene there. We actually talk to them just in case, if you are talking to some donor and you feel that, I'm not able to convey them completely about social stock exchange, because right now there is no CSR money. If you're going for institutional donation, they have to give you money beyond their CSR. And they are willing to give, but maybe they are not able to understand social stock exchange because this is very new to you. That is where, you can bring us in picture, we can be on that common call, we can talk about it, and it's a part of our capacity building of those donors also, so that it's not you, but they would be willing to give to other NPOs also. Because at the end, it's just not about how much funding you are getting through social stock exchange, but how much value actually we can add to the entire developmental goals of India, right? How much, deficit we can fill in. And it's a kind of combined effort. So that's how it is, a lot of things that I have to talk about, that we can trying to add value through. Same time, a very big thank you to SEBI also, where many things take a lot of time. They are very proactive when it comes to seeking feedback from ecosystem, coming up with their consultation paper, and then implementing all those new ideas for social stock exchange. Like I said that, from 1st of April, it is going to be 1,000 minimum application size or donation. I mean, in Feb only, they came up with uh, that consultation paper. and they got feedback, and from 10,000 it was like, brought down to 1,000 rupees. So that is how prompt they are. When it comes to awareness creation, in last 1.5 years, we have really conducted so many multiple uncountable webinars, and same time, like, big awareness seminars also, where we just not talk about the process, what we are talking right now, but we also bring all those experts on different topics. Say, for example, like just demystifying social stock exchange. For that, we have brought different, like, panelists talking about the entire vision of social stock exchange around, like, collaboration and how to deal with different ecosystem players. That is also, I mean, has become one of our topics. When we talk about the development impact bond, for outcome-based funding, we have brought the bestest experts from country and talked about that. For like impact evaluation and social audit, we have brought in, like, the top experts and talking about all those things. So we have done it, like, from starting from Bangalore to New Delhi. We did it where, like, more than 350 unique NPOs came in, I mean, under one roof, and they talked about it. Many people actually came up with that feedback saying that we had never seen, like, this many people, this many NPOs coming under one roof, and they're not talking about competition, they're talking about collaboration, how together we can, like, collaborate and work for bigger causes. To, like, Kochi, to Hyderabad, to, Varanasi, like places, we have been to Jamshedpur, Ranchi, Lucknow, and so on, right? And we are also, going forward, we are going to get into places like Northeast. I mean, we have conducted webinars, but yeah, so that is how, like, till now we have addressed to more than 5,000 NPOs. And we understand that it's a kind of, a stepwise process. You cannot expect to implement this. And this is anyways ripple effect. Maybe, like, 3,000 NPOs may have talked to different, like, NPOs. There are self-regulatory of organizations also. They have conducting so many webinars on all these things. Capacity Building Fund is doing a lot of work. So overall, if we combine together, we are trying our best to create that awareness. And that is the reason why hundreds of NPOs are still in the pipeline for registration. And they are also, like, hoping to be on the platform and raise fund for their projects. So yeah, so all these things are happening, and it one day at a time for sure. We
I think
understand.
Kaushal,
Yeah,
why can't we address some practical questions? There are a lot of in the chat box, and one or two
yeah,
questions from my side also is that once you open the issue, how long you have to keep the issue open? Number one. Number two, once the issue is closed,
mhm,
right? Because unlike the stock market, there is no trading is going to happen.
yeah.
So they have to continue like this, or they can exit from the stock market after the issue is open. How long they have to be there? Till the project completion? Are you going to monitor that project completion and all those things? If you can throw some light on these kind of issues
Sure.
also.
So as I said that once the NPO is, they feel that their 75-80%, funding, is soft commitment has been received from their donors, they can open the issue. Many NPO, target 100%, 95%, right? And when they issue open the issue, it is open from 3 days to, 10 days, right? They can extend, and it can further be extended to another 10 days. So minimum 3 days, maximum 20 days. Once it is closed, then there are some sort of, like, matching happens, that whether, it's done by RTA, they do like what all, demat accounts are correct or not. Mismatch thing happen, right?
Right.
Whether, I mean, somebody has, already, booked the amount, right? But when it is a credit time, that time, debit time, that time, like, whether the amount is available in their account or not, right? So all those things happen in another 1-2 days, and within 5 days, like, the NPO gets listed, project gets listed, and that time, that money lying in their escrow account, that gets transferred from escrow to their project account, and that is when they kick off their project, right? So that's one thing. So it's a kind of, like, within, like, 20 maximum extension, like, within 25 to 30 days, they close the project, they start the project, and the ZCZP instrument's validity is till the project gets over, right? Yeah, so that is the validity. Once like, project is over, then this instrument will disappear from their account, right? And certainly, like when we talk about all those disclosures, that quarterly utilization to annual, impact assessment. And I will suggest one more thing to all of you, and I'm really happy that more than 200 people have joined. So there is a recent consultation paper SEBI has come up with, and they're going to, like, come up with their circular very soon, most likely. So they have also talked about, like, what kind of flexibility to different other organizations also. They are a part of not-for-profit organizations, but they were not involved as to be on the social stock exchange. So you can go through that consultation paper as well. Yeah, so when you go to, I'm trying to just put that link as well here so that you can go through that. That will be of great learning opportunity. This 67% most likely is also going to be modified, because many NPOs found it a very difficult, bit difficult to how to, set up that primacy of social intent, right? How to calculate that 2/3 or 67%. So that is what very well addressed in that consultation paper. And that will bring more NPOs eligible to be on the platform. And now we can go through the questions one by one. So please provide, this is done. Is there any receipt or other instrument? Yeah, so what is that called? I didn't get it. Other instrument is issued to funders for fundraise through SSE. So it is a donation. There is no liability or income as such, because you are not an investor, you are a donor. And the only return is social return. ATG can be claimed, and when it comes to, like, issuing that ATG certificate, NPO does that, and certainly there, like, RTA helps there. PPT will be, I think, shared, and most likely this entire conversation would be a part of YouTube video, right?
Yeah, recorded webinar
video
will be
there.
disseminated. It will be available. People can actually watch it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I have also shared one guidebook recently uploaded, and this guidebook has been created considering even the kind of one NPO who has never heard about social stock exchange, right? So what they have to take care of, what main question they can ask to themselves before starting to register, what are the eligibility criteria, where all those yes or no's they have to fill in. And it's a kind of very well, like, made guidebook, and we have recently uploaded. So I have put the link as well, so you can download that document and you can go through that.
How is the maximum amount of determined in case of the SSE?
Achha, guidebook link not working, you are saying. So what you can do is you can go on the Social Stock Exchange link of NSE, and there on the first page only, a guidebook is there to be downloaded. So that is there. When we talk about the professional cost, right now we are charging only for your registration, which is 5,000 plus applicable taxes. So applicable taxes means GST minus TDS. Then ATG certificate is automatized. Yeah, so right now it's not there, but let's see what future brings. Certainly this is as a part of, like, one of our areas where we can make it better. Why FPs are only listed, not registered? Because the basic reason is, like, NPOs have a lot of projects they work on, right? So they raise fund for their project, not for their organization, because SSE supports their project here, and not the organization when it comes to, like, paying for their salaries or operational costs. And when it comes to companies, like, just like SME or main board, it is through that. And right now, if I talk about number, the main focus was on NPOs, because they are the ones who need fund right now. For profit organizations are anyways doing a little better, better than, NPOs. And now our focus is to bring FPs also in the ecosystem. And the moment this development impact bond, I missed to talk about that outcome-based funding. So the basic idea of outcome-based funding is like, when we come into development impact bond or social impact bond, right? So when private entity becomes a kind of like, outcome-based funder, in that case, it will be known as development impact bond and social impact bond when government comes in place. So in Asia, in education, and in India, if we talk about who has done this brought development impact bond in India is Educate Girls. They had raised through different private outcome-based funders. The basic idea is like, when I want one project to be implemented and I want outcome-based funding, means I will pay that amount only when one organization brings that result. They showcase that result that, okay, I have achieved. But as an NGO or as an implementing partner agency, I mean, I cannot put my money. I don't have money to like, first showcase that result and then like, ask for money from the outcome-based funder. So that is where like, we bring in the concept of risk funder. So risk funder comes in place, and what they do is like, they put their money, and they are known as risk funder because they are taking that risk of that outcome-based funding. They are taking that risk of if there is no result or that outcome shown, then the funding is at risk, right? So once that risk funder will say that this is the risk premium I will want. Say for example, if the project is of 100 crore, they will say that maybe like, they will fund 90 crore and they will say that I want 100 crore once the project, results are achieved. And this outcome-based funder will give that money to that 100 crore to the risk funder. And that 10 crore will be the risk premium to that risk funder. So the basic idea of bringing this concept is where, we can talk about outcome-based philanthropy. It's not like even if I don't achieve those results, it doesn't matter, right? So when we talk about, giving that outcome-based philosophy, then the accountability will be more, right? And even those NPOs registered on social stock exchange, if they are implementing those projects, they will be, very much responsible for showcasing those results, right? So this will bring a lot of accountability because what we see in general till now in our country as well, that when some project comes in, like in the same area, another project comes and they talk about the same baseline, right? They talk about the same areas and that starts and completes, but without any outcome, without any impact. So this kind of setup will certainly bring a lot of like, accountability. So that is how it is. And most likely, after ZCZP, DIB is going to be the next instrument. And this will also bring a lot of like, opportunity to NPOs to come for funding, and actually they will receive funding once it comes one by one. And as I said, that MP government has recently come up with their, budget announcement, and in their document only they have mentioned about this, that they are going for DIB through social stock exchange. So that's a good news. It may take some time, but certainly this is going to be a kind of great instrument for social sector, for NPOs. So that's one. Second, we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, why FES are only listed out registered? Is there any object behind it?
Going to share.
Why FEs are only listed, not registered? Is there any object?
So they are companies and they do not need to be registered because they don't have projects, but they invest. They look for investment, right? Just like SME and main board. And only tag they are receiving is like social entity, where like, people who, think about social causes, they can be one of their investors. So they are for profit. Yeah. So that's how.
Fees for SEBI and professional?
There is no fees as such. And right now we are only charging for registration fee. Maybe we can come up with some nominal charges only, like, but it's again under discussion. And right now, like, till 12th issue, everything was, waived off, whether it's a listing, annual listing charge, or like one-time listing or DFRD processing fee. It has all been like, for free of cost.
Somebody seeking to have your number.
Yeah, I'm just putting my email ID as well.
Okay.
Um,
How is social stock exchanges related to CSR? Can you actually funds used to subscribe ZCZP? What are the related regulations?
So one more thing is like, when CSR, so one thing is like, I mean, when we talk about social stock exchange fund, foreign funding is not allowed. Uh, NRI donors, NRO donors can certainly like, they can participate if they have their Indian, I mean, they have Demat account in India. So that's another thing. But CSR had certain possibilities that they might like, attract, foreign funding. But more than that, the main reason was when we talk about this funding deficit, if we are bringing all this funding from the existing taps only, right, funnels only, it's not going to bring new fundraising opportunities. So that was the reason why CSR was not involved. And even if it is coming, it will be coming in a gliding path, starting maybe like some percentage, but that will also help a lot to prove your outcomes, and then go for the other funding through parallel platforms.
If 75% of the issue is not subscribed, what NPO should do?
Oh, they can come with like, they can file the document again. I mean, the only thing is like normally what happens till now, that once you get the in principle approval or once you file the document, from that time only you start reaching out to your donors, right? So most important thing is when you are going for your fundraising, you have to evaluate, right? That how much fundraising I should do. That's the most important question, and just not based on how much you need to implement some project, but how much you can attract based on your credibility, based on your donor base. And even if you reach out to your potential donors, how much is kind of like indicative amount you should put there. So after assessing that, probably I believe that 2 to 3 months are sufficient to reach out to your potential donors, doing all the road shows, writing about your project, doing your social media campaigns, and then getting that soft commitment from your donors. And believe me, it's going to be a great experience, learning experience, basically, where you only talk about your existing donors or like what is the existing practices happening. This will help you meeting a lot of great people also in the ecosystem. And that will be another level of capacity building in terms of how you look at your projects, look at your organization, and build your credibility and the brand of your organization. So it will give you a kind of complete personality shift or existence of your NPOs.
Okay. Is there any SME type of platform for the small NPO? Total cost for the listing.
See, not right now, but certainly like, those when we talk about this fund receipt of funds and expenses, it's 50 lakhs and 10 lakhs. Let's see if something comes in future. But when we talk about if some NPOs, because there are so many NPOs and there are one NPO, they had 49.5 lakhs and they were not eligible. We could not allow them also because it's the regulation that we follow. But that can be aspiration for future, that right, you have to achieve 50 lakhs to be a part of social stock exchange, right? But yeah, there may be some flexibility which may come in future, and let's hope for that. Yeah.
I have an idea for starting an NPO who will actually recover child trafficking victims and also prevent the same by conducting the camps, etc. But not know how to start, from where and when I can get the finance.
See, there are so many donors, and I tell you, like in our exchange also, like it's not like we are also trying to raise a lot of awareness among donor groups, that how social stock exchange can give them the maximum benefit of that social satisfaction. So that is how, like, many donors, they say that, okay, whenever your next project comes in, you share that document with us. If we are interested, we would like to fund that project. That is one thing. Certainly we will be providing that, when you submit that project document, we share that document with all of our, like, donor base we are reaching out to, as a part of the awareness of that project also. And second thing is, like, while you are doing all the road shows or reaching out to different donors, if you need our help to be a part of, as I said, we won't mind doing that. And other thing is, like, this is, you have not tried it yet, right? So once you will try it, you will understand challenges, but you will also see those opportunities, how you are meeting new people and who all people are actually caring about that. So it's just not about the awareness of social stock exchange. Maybe it's awareness of the cause also that you are supporting. And this is an opportunity to create that awareness of cause. And we never know, if we don't ask, answer is either ways no. So it's better to ask, right? I mean, if you need any help, I've shared my email ID. You can write to me, and you can send me a message, or you can call me, and we can talk about it in detail, how we can crack the code probably. Yeah.
There are NPO registered with the charity office and the income tax office, but not eligible for ATG certificate. What are the options available with them?
So right now they may not be eligible, but again, they will have to, like, wait till they seek that all those eligibility criteria, and then they can apply. And maybe, like, we can talk about it separately.
How many NPOs has been listed? I think you already given the link for them.
Yeah.
So they
12
can
are
actually
listed. They
see
have
that.
raised 41 crore, and the last one was the largest one. They raised 18 crore, and they are going to set up one emergency and trauma care in their hospital. And I just forgot to tell that in that issue, approximately 200 retail donors participated.
We recognize the role of the NGOs in society, but in case of the misgovernances, listed NGOs, how the SEBI will act against those NGOs?
See, the biggest stake for any NGO, if they do anything, like, against something, I mean, the credibility is the biggest, because your credibility is losing at national platform, right? So nobody would like to do that. And that is how, like, sometimes we think of giving our best, right? So
SSE is a very relevant and informative topic, but the webinar, sorry to join very late, but will consider the same, understand for, I think this is being distributed the YouTube, you can watch it actually, there's no problem. If you join late, that should not be a
and you can
issue
write to me.
actually.
I will send you all the information on social stock exchange with all the links possible. So that will help you out. And anyways, like, if you have any questions, you can respond to me, and I'm there to respond to any of your queries, even after this webinar.
Why are you not organizing webinars, seminars amongst the larger NPOs, at least in the metro, so that proper and competent information should be disseminated and a robust system gets ready?
No, so we are trying to reach out to maximum places through seminars and webinars. And second thing is, like, there is a difference, what was there 1.5 years ago and now, right? And especially when we know that everything is, available on just on mobile phones, right? So it's just a kind of Google search away. Even on YouTube, if you search social stock exchange, even on Google you search, you will find multiple, like, on our website also, you'll find so many reading materials and how different NPOs have raised funds. So it's just a kind of search away, and you will find our email ID also there. So there you can write, and believe me, whenever you write to us, it's sscbd@nsc.co.in. Within a day, you receive all those information. If you require to have any one-to-one call or a kind of like call with your team, we arrange that. We have one, I believe there is one toll-free number also, from where I receive a lot of call that somebody wants to know about it. So that is where also we connect. So, I mean, awareness is building, certainly more is merrier. And the kind of nation, 1.4 billion, population we have, it will take some time. But certainly, like, now we cannot say that information is not available just by searching on Google. So please use that as much as you can.
In the earlier discussion, there were actually discussions of institutional fund, such as the pension funds coming into social sector. Will that happen in the future?
The future, I mean, let's hope that all those things happen to social stock exchange, but right now it's not there. Yeah.
Whether the SEBI is going to monitor the implementation of the project?
So right now, I mean, they're not involved in that because they are anyway submitting that social impact assessment report and all those things. But yeah, they are involved in creating the entire ecosystem when it comes to like, certifying those assessors, right? Their organization, NISM, they are the ones who is taking that lead from, curating all those content for examination and designing the entire examination to evaluating those exams and certifying those impact assessors. So
Do we need to appoint the merchant banker for the listing, just like for listing the company in the BSE and NSE?
the merchant bankers are not necessary here because somehow also costing, I mean, these projects are very cost sensitive. Right. So that is where like it's not mandatory, but there are certain NPOs. I mean, it's onto them if they want somebody, if they're going for some bigger issue like 18 crore, 50 crore, 100 crore, they want somebody to also coordinate with different bankers where they are facilitating their services or not. And at the same time, like we can call them in a way like social banker, because merchant bankers, they bring investors, but here like somebody who is expert of social sector, who know how to mobilize different donors, right? Institutional or non-institutional or retail donors, right? So that's where like social banker may be required, but it's not necessary. I mean like you can appoint somebody who will look after all the partnerships and all the donor engagements and everything, but it's not necessary right now.
Whether the accounts of the project will be audited?
Yeah. Pardon?
Whether the accounts of the project will be audited?
Yeah, it's there. I mean, when they submit their certificates, it's all certified, and those are actually like checked.
Is there any reporting requirement to post registration?
Post registration, yes, we talked about it. Like
Presentation
annual,
was
yeah,
there.
impact assessment. If there is any change, some documentation is expiring, they have to talk about that. They have to share that with us. So those things are there, and it's all a part of our checklist. So what can be done is like I will share if I receive all the email IDs, I can send all the details to all the people who have participated today.
What if a project is not implemented as original?
So depends like, so certainly there will be a difference between planning and implementation, right? So there are different scenarios that can be talked about. One is like, your fund is getting over before the complete, milestone achieved or outcome achieved. So maybe some extension can be requested. In terms of like sometimes what happens that you end up saving some fund, right? So in that case what you have to do, so again like I mean you have to keep exchanges in loop, that what is the scenario, and accordingly the way forward can be decided. Second thing is like if an NPO says that, oh, we were not successful like in implementing that project, so the biggest stake is credibility here. There can be some scenarios where you can say that, oh, we spent some amount on something which we had not anticipated. Like, say, for example, one of your team members who was working on a project, on that project, I mean, he fell in some accident or something like that, and there you had to spend something. So in that case also, like, there is one provision that we talked about, like within 7 days, you have to, share that incident with us, that what has happened, and accordingly like I mean that call can be taken.
Bala, it is
What are,
already now 5. We have to speed up now, I think. Let us see only the important questions and don't need to go each and everything. Okay.
How
what
many
are the rights?
questions we are left with?
I think almost about another 29 questions.
All right. Okay. So if you can just read some of the key ones.
What are the rights? What are the rights are given to the donors case in the contribute to a project if the project issue is an NPO?
Right.
If
So,
the
right.
sub
There's nothing. So see, for donors also, like, the biggest concern is how the quality of outcome, right? If I'm giving my hard-earned money to some uh project because I care for that cause, and it's all about social satisfaction and social return, my biggest concern is whether my money is being implemented and reaching out to those beneficiaries or not, right?
IPO under SSI is the SSE eligible in states or contribute. I think that you discussed actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Then whether any limit of the salary remuneration of the executives of the project.
So that's all a part of your project document, and certainly we also go through our benchmarking while seeing your that thing, and we ask question if it is not in, say for example, if something is outlier, right? Certainly it will be asked. So that will
Yes.
be there, but you will have to justify the entire cost, why you are putting that way. There's ample, like, number of project documents right now on our website, so you can go through that. And these all questions there can be multiple questions around it. And I would really like, request you, encourage you to write to me all those questions. We will talk about it. And this will also give a kind of food for thought that what kind of next thing can come up, and we can take it as a part of feedback also. It's just not about your question, but you can share your feedback with us. That can be like, thought about for future, revisions, or like, future, considerations.
SSE registering only for the NPO or donors are also registered who wants to show their intention of contributing to the NPO, not a particular type of the social project.
No, it's like as long as it's a part of those 17 activities, and it's not about 17 activities only, but if you read through that, I mean, it's not one line, but there's so many sub activities and subcategories of that, right? So, so they're also like, I mean, that will help you establishing that primacy of social intent. And I just missed the first part of that question. So can you please come again?
SSE is registering only NPOs or donors also registered who want
Okay.
to show their intention contributing for the NPO.
So
For
donors cannot be. I mean, when we talk about this DIB and all, so there may be one platform called Social Electronic Bidding Platform, right? Where we talk about price discovery of certain coupon, and it will be a very new concept here to talk about because we have very less time. So there will be set of contacts of those donors who you want to target or something like that, but it's very much in nascent stage, and let's not talk about that. But certainly, donors are yet not like, kind of registered, but
how,
they can be a part of our list, that whom to target, whom to, talk to about fundraising and all those things.
how do you make intermediary fees reasonable?
So I tell you, I mean, what is happening that as we have taken that initiative, right, we are charging just 5,000 rupees for registration, and we are trying to enable the system. We keep on talking to them, keep on like, doing certain level of advocacy that if they can also help, by charging less to support this ecosystem. We have been already doing it, whether it's a kind of like, RTAs or like, bankers or CDS, I mean, all those intermediaries in a nutshell. So we keep on like, talking to them. However, it's their decision whether they want to or not. But they are also very positive about it, and they like to support this as a part of the supporting social sector only. So that's a good news. It's not like they do not consider, they do.
Is it possible to execute the Nepal market too?
No, right now it's not. I mean,
Next question, eligibility. Eligibility, I think we talked
Yeah, that
about it.
covered this, yeah.
Marketing cost are the huge and the major part of the, that also you talked about it. You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah,
decide that
it depends. It depends. Yeah.
how far is it okay to attend? Only one
Yes, Mr.
participant.
Giri's comment is there because his question was not answered. He said my only one person answered. He has answered that. We were taking in chronological order.
Okay. Whether the investment of SSC company, CSR, that we talked about it. Do you have any scheme, VIP?
Now, one question left. If the NPO themselves are required to contact donors and reach out to them prior to the issue, then what is the benefit of NPO getting from SSE?
See, whenever you start reaching out to different donors to fund, donate on social stock exchange platform, it's always advisable. And obviously, it's a platform where NPOs are sole responsible for mobilizing donors, right? In a way, it's not giving you donors. It's only giving you that visibility, that trust and credibility where the chances of bringing donors is very high, right? Because they will also understand that if once you are registered on social stock exchange, you are a credible organization. So that's the biggest, edge you are getting. But when it comes to as I said, you are reaching out to some donor and that person is wanting to know more about social stock exchange and why they should donate on this platform. We are more than happy to be a part of that conversation, right? If our, intervention as in be bringing that awareness to that donors helps your funding, why not? Right? So you can keep us in loop if you need us there. We would be because as I said that it's not uh, other platforms. It's in building process, right? Where awareness is key, where most of the donors are also not so much aware about social stock exchange. So we're trying to
Can Ghosh,
reaching out to them one by one. But yeah, if your intervention helps reaching out to those donors and making them aware about social stock exchange, why not?
can Goshala's issue SSC, ZB on SSC?
Yeah, it can be like how you define your project, as a part of those 17 activities, right? So animal husbandry is there. And if you try to research on different publications related to your project, you may find so many logical reasons how it should be a part of that. So it also lies in your explanation that how it comes under those activities. And certainly what as a part of it, because in Goshala also there can be so many different angles of looking at. One is you are doing it as a part of dairy ecosystem or value chain, or you are doing it of all the cows who are not productive as of now. So you are creating a kind of shelter or cow shelter. In that way, how it is contributing to different indicators related to climate change. So there can be so many angles of thinking it through. And as long as you are able to establish that primacy of social intent, it can be accepted.
How the social auditors will give opportunities for the social impact assessor or any opportunity after registering as a SAO?
So once you do that, probably you can start building your network. You can reaching out to those NPOs if they need your help, right? At the same time, you can be a part of this kind of webinars and different seminars where you can talk about your services. Same time, you can connect with all the SROs and be a bit proactive, telling them, see, we are very much capable and willing to help those NPOs. You can circulate our contacts among them. So that's how the ecosystem will get to know about your organization, your service offering, and that is how you can come to the mainstream of this.
Next question is, I think, registering a listing that you talked about. It NPO get registered project is there.
All is covered, I think, Mr. Bala. Then there is Mr. Giri's grievances on this thing. Everyone thing is upset, Mr. Giris. We understand you are a lot of upset with your not. I think Mr. Kausal has attended your questions. However, how the this program to be conducted, we will connect separately. But this we are doing since years, and it's more than a decade we are doing these programs.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to you. And I think, Mr. Kaushal, the question and the confusion is majority is that whether CSR funds, any contribution to social stock exchange can be done through CSR funds. That is the
So
confusion.
right now it's not allowed. As I
That's all. That's a clear answer
No.
to everyone. It is
Yeah,
not.
he said actually initially only he said about the
Yeah, but
CSR. He
again the
talked.
questions were coming. That's why I clarified.
Yeah,
No,
that's
so
it.
I would request Girish ji to, please write to me. You have my number and email ID. And the idea is not to because sometimes what happens, we have very limited time, right? And we had to actually cover a lot of things. And most important thing is giving that narrative of why social stock exchange and how it can benefit the entire ecosystem of this development sector. So I understand that, most of the financial professionals are not very well aware about this entire thing, social sector basically. So what we can do is please ping me your number, or like you can write to me. We can have a kind of separate call, and won't mind addressing most of your questions. Right now I'm not sure if there is a provision of allowing our participants also to ask question face to face.
Yeah, that is there. I returned to him.
So
Once
there's so
all the
many.
questions are answered, we
Yeah,
allow the participants.
yeah, because there are 200 plus people, and even if
Practically we
in-person
were doing, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not possible allow.
yeah.
It
It's
cannot
a
be.
paucity of time, so please understand. And we totally accept that pity on faculty. Maybe like we need to improve a lot for the next session. Yeah. And if everyone think that it's only one person, it will become 20, 30 people. So the idea was to impart that basic thought of food for thought, so that it will bring a lot of question in your brain and you can reach out to us separately with your questions, because all 200 people cannot be serious enough to know entire detailing of social stock exchange, maybe like 180 people. So our idea is to reach out to those people, and we are glad that you are one of them. And let's have this call maybe next week only.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Mr. Kaushal. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Mr. Girish, Mr. Kaushal number is there. You can directly
I'm
connect.
writing it one more time, just in
Yeah,
case
Mr.
I
Girish.
lost it.
I'm sorry if inconvenience is there, but please understand our inability also. And you can directly contact Mr. Kaushal for that reason. Okay.
Yes,
Thanks a
Girish, he
lot.
has already put up his number. You can get in touch with him. You'll definitely answer 100%. There's no issue. Thanks a lot to Mr. Kaushal for sparing so
Thanks
much
a
of
lot,
the
Mr.
time.
Kaushal. It was wonderful with in-depth knowledge. Thanks a lot. Thanks,
Thank you so much,
Dolly, for your
everyone.
presentation. Thanks, Sudhakar. Thanks, Bala.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, ma'am. Thanks, Dolly, for just organizing everything for benefiting more than 200 people. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks a
everyone.
lot.